Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit. I am your host, Jesse Krieger, joined today on this keynote kickoff presentation with the one-of-a-kind, one of my close friends and inspiring mentors, Alicia Dunams. Alicia, welcome.
Yay! Hey everyone, how you doing?
And thanks so much for joining, especially on this first day of the summit here. Thanks everybody for being accommodating as we scrambled with some last minute tech issues, but internet's still the wild, wild west. So we were able to adapt and everybody seems to be joining us over here. That's about as much as we
Yeehaw!
could hope for with 5 minutes to spare. So, a quick introduction to the summit for everybody that's just joining and coming in. Over the next 10 days, I'm super excited to share with you and introduce you to some very inspiring entrepreneurs, people that are really living and running their business with an emphasis on lifestyle and really integrating their interests and passions into the business they run, the coaching that they do, the different way that they show up in the world from a career perspective and making sure that it's fun and that they enjoy the ride along the way. And so, over the next 10 days, I'm excited to introduce you to some people that fully embody this lifestyle entrepreneur ethos, making money, doing what you love, and having a business that supports a lifestyle of freedom, creativity, travel, and opportunity. And of course, the whole week is sort of a precursor to my own book, Lifestyle Entrepreneur, coming out. So with that as an introduction, I am thrilled to have Alicia Dunams here, and I'll give a little background on how we met and how we've come to this point, and then super interested to hear your story, and I have a bunch of questions for you. I think we can have a fun, wide-ranging discussion and conversation. So I met Alicia a couple years ago or so or more when she was just getting started with her Bestseller in a Weekend program. And for those of you that already know Alicia, many of you may have already done the Bestseller in a Weekend, or if you don't, then she herself is a best-selling author, and ultimately in the last few years has been helping and coaching aspiring authors and busy executives to turn their ideas into books, to build a platform and expand their thought leadership and really just run their book up the charts. And so I've been fortunate to follow her growth and development, and witnessed her launch a number of different training programs and formats and products. And just I perceive Alicia as somebody that always goes all in, as her podcast is called, and just plays full out in business and life. So that's why I was very thrilled when she accepted the invitation to be the keynote presenter here on Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit. So with that, warm welcome, Alicia. I want to let you also introduce yourself and just perhaps share a little bit about what you're up to now and what you're doing sort of in this moment. And then I want to trace back a little to the origins and how you got started and ultimately wound up in this place that you find yourself now. And then over the course of the conversation, we'll look forward to what's coming in the future and the exciting things that you have in store for your business and brand.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jesse, for having me. It's awesome to be part of the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit. Yeah, we met a few years ago, and then we're in a mutual community here in the San Francisco Bay Area of business entrepreneurs, and we hung out at this freedom retreat, and I did my initial. It's before I launched my 60 Days to Six Figures program. And I gave like a full-on demonstration, and you were in there. You started getting ideas for your business in a weekend program, and then you eventually joined 60 Days to Six Figures, and having a lot of success with your business in a weekend, which you kind of created after my bestseller in a weekend model, which has been very successful for me as well. And whew, I'm so excited I started Bestseller in a Weekend to be able to have the maximum amount of impact globally, which is so excited. And that's part of being a lifestyle entrepreneur. And when I was thinking about being the keynote of the summit, I was thinking about what is a lifestyle entrepreneur, and you and I have spoke about this in the past. And when lifestyle entrepreneur, I kind of think of like young guys like living in Thailand and their laptops and open that box. Really, because my lifestyle entrepreneurship started out of being a single mom, and it was really being 20, 25, almost 26 when I had my daughter, uh, and then a year and a half later, things didn't work out with me and her father, and being a single mother, and really saying, okay, wow, I'm a single mother, and I get to bring home the bacon and cook the bacon. That's like how my mindset. It's like I went into this whole like I'm gonna be masculine and feminine type of thing, and so I really decided I don't want to get in the car every day and drive somewhere. A lot of times I was living in Sacramento back then. A lot of times people were driving from Sacramento to the Bay Area for to work in Silicon Valley. I'm like totally not interested in driving 2 hours each way. Totally not interested in having a 9 to 5 job. And so I just took what I had at that point, which is being, in my mid 20s, and just figuring out, okay, I have a degree from UCLA. I have some skills. I worked for Genentech a little bit. I worked for a PR company. I did some travel writing, and kind of pulling that into what can I do where I can stay home and be with my daughter. And really what I created is I took a course at Sac State in technical writing, and I created my own technical writing business. And I used Craigslist as a way to get clients. And so I had banks, I had software companies as clients, and I all negotiated with them that I could work at home. And it was just the power of intention. I was just recording a podcast. We were talking about the power of intention. When you have vision and you intend something to happen, it is so powerful how you can create that. So I said, I'm not working at home. I'm not working outside the home. I'm working at home so I can watch my daughter. And I actually had this really funky schedule. My daughter was about 2 years old, and I was just saying this the other day to her, because I would wake up in the middle of the night to do my work so I could be with her during the day. And then, of course, she and I slept together. And she would start getting on my rhythms, and I'd be like at the computer working, and then she would just creep up and be standing next to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not happening. I'm like, go back to bed, because I didn't want her getting on my schedule, and she did. That happened for like a couple weeks. She would just sit next to me and play with her dolls at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like,
but also probably absorbing all of this entrepreneurial experience through osmosis, just standing next to you, getting started young, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. The other day we were sitting in the car, and I got this beautiful testimonial from a client. She just sent me a video just like yesterday. And this woman was saying how I've changed her life. And my daughter says to me, who's now 12, so this was, 10 years ago I've been on this journey. And she said, Mom, see, look at your business. You change people's lives. You help people write books. You help people start businesses. She's like, you change people's lives, Mom. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. And my daughter only knows me as an entrepreneur.
I mean, that's so powerful. And isn't it one of the most rewarding things about either writing a book or helping other people write a book and get their message out there, when you get sort of these unsolicited testimonials or feedback, or somebody saying, I read your book 5 months ago and this is what I've been working on and here's where it's at today, to be able to be a catalyst for change like that and positive, uplifting change must be just so rewarding.
It is, absolutely. That's why the name of my podcast is All In. And one thing that is really important for me to do, I always say the teacher teaches what they want to know. I've been very transparent, you know this, Jesse, that I create programs based on the feedback of my clients, and I create things very much in the moment. And I think that's the reason why my programs are very they fulfill a need. My clients, when they have a problem, it's like I come up with a solution. And I think it's almost being a single mom and creating something from nothing. I mean, that's really what I've done. I look back now. I have the leisure to look back and see how I created things. A lot of things in my business were very reactionary,
Mm.
out of full on need. And whereas some people can sit back and say, oh, this is the vision of my business. Mine was like, okay, feed my child. Mine was like, I don't want to work. Mine was like, and so whatever the opposite reaction, it's like, I don't want to work. Okay, so I'm going to create this. So I'm going to create this. So that's very much how I've created my business and businesses. And now I really have the leisure to look up at the vision, which is the vision of my business, which is almost kind of scary because everything has been so reactionary and so kind of tribal and earthy and being a mom. So it's now I'm like, okay, things are rolling around really smoothly, and being able to have that freedom and that play is exciting.
That is exciting, and I absolutely want to talk about the vision because I'm excited to know what you're going to be up to moving forward. But it's funny to hear you say that most of the business decisions that you've made over the last few years were reactionary. When I want to touch on this, on what you said of having that intent, perhaps even from the start, that you wanted to work from home and set up your business as you were building it or just founding it to revolve around your lifestyle, namely with your daughter. And so, was that conscious from the moment you decided to start your own business that you wanted to set it up and structure it so that it worked within your lifestyle and being able to be there for your daughter? Or was that also reactionary to like a negative experience in either the workforce or working for somebody else as a contractor? If you traced it back to starting
Yeah,
everything that you're currently up to now, there I imagine there was some
I
intent and
think
conscious choice.
the original intent and the reason I started my business was because I wanted to be home for my daughter because I felt like this kind of traumatic thing that happened to me personally with my relationship not working out with her father, and wanting to be there. Like I felt this incredible amount of guilt and like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be every started. And so the intention and it just everything I put so it was almost like short term. It's like this intention and then I created it. So there's
Mm.
like bursts of creation. So originally I started my technical writing business, and then I was working at home working on that, and then that evolved. I've never been someone who sat and like had a 10-year vision or a 5-year vision. I don't even know what that is. Like my vision has always been like very of the moment and present, which I think there's nothing wrong with that. I have no regrets. No regrets. And so started the technical writing business, and then it evolved. So everything that I've done in my business has been an evolution, really responding to what I'm currently going through. So I started my technical writing business, and I was also modeling as well. And then the whole gold digger experience happened where I was. We can go into that. That's a long story, but it's where I wrote my book Gold Digger.
Yeah, I do.
So
I want to touch
where
on, long before you were helping other people write bestsellers, did you yourself wrote your book Gold Digger, and that became a bestseller, which I imagine was a catalyst moving into doing Bestseller in a Weekend and all the other programs. Maybe you could talk a little bit about did
absolutely.
writing that book grow out of your technical writing and wanting to have a more creatively expressed vision for a book instead of doing like sort of contract work, or is it an idea that you
No,
always had,
no,
or was it reactionary to something
not
else
at
that was
all.
going on in your life at the time?
Totally reactionary on inspired thought. I was at I was a single mom working as a technical writer. I was still doing modeling, and I went to a New Year's Eve party, and it was at my mother's friend's house, and there was people were having a great time, but my mom is friends with uh, the mother of Nicole Murphy, who was married to Eddie Murphy. So it was at this woman's house, and all the women were kind of getting tipsy and having a good time, and they're like, Alicia, you work too hard. You're all by yourself all the time. All you're doing is working, because that's what I was. I was really hustling. I was really working. And they're like, you should be married to a millionaire. You should be just like Nicole Murphy, they were saying, being married to like a superstar, a millionaire. You have you have too much, you're too pretty, you're too this and you're too that to be working all by yourself. And I was really devastated at that
Well, when you
conversation.
heard
I thought
that,
I
did that
completely
sound
had
appeal?
failed. I thought I
Oops. I was just going to ask when you,
no, it was I actually was.
yeah, when you heard
It
that,
felt
when
like a put
you,
down.
I think we have a slight delay, but when you'd heard people say
Yeah, we
things
have this
like
like
that, did that immediately cause a reaction like, no, I don't want to do that? Or did you think like, wow, maybe I could work less if I had, you know, somebody to help out and take care of business side of things and let me focus on the family? Or did you keep like on the straight and narrow and think, nope, I'm going to build my business, I'm going to do this myself and scale it as much as I can? Did it ever appeal to you to go that direction, is what I'm saying, of what these people were suggesting at the party?
yeah, I was when they said that, I realized that these women were kind of drunk and having a good time, and I was really offended. I actually started. I left the party. I was crying. I felt like I
Mm.
failed. Um, I, as women do, I started comparing myself to other women um, who have, had it all. And so it was really it was almost a like, well, I thought I was doing great. I guess I'm not. It was one of those. I really self doubt, and so what I ended up doing was, it was in the back of my mind because when I hear something, I think we're all affected by when people say something to us because just as um, speaking out, I mean, the tongue is very powerful. When you say something positive, it lifts people up, and when you say something negative, I think it sits with people or it shrinks them. And for me, it was kind of something that sat in the back of my head. And what ended up happening is I continued doing my business, which at that point was a consulting company, and I was watching because I worked at home. I was watching Dr. Phil one day, and they had a segment on gold diggers, gold diggers, and there was a woman in the panel, and she says, "Well, you women have it all wrong. Um, Successful men want to be with women who are successful, and women who have uh, you know things going on in their life, travel and businesses and stuff." And she goes, I have an agency that sets up those type of men and this type of women." And that woman was Patty Stanger of Millionaire Maker. This
Mm.
was before she was the Millionaire Maker. and and so I kind of thought about it. I'm like, well, I'm pretty successful. Let me just try this out. So it was kind of I act a lot, and I've always acted a lot on inspired thought or inspired by something. Just even when I backpacked around the world by myself in my early 20s, I had a woman who I met who just said, "Oh, I just finished backpacking around the world." And I'm like, hmm? And so
Maybe
was
maybe
like,
that
oh,
would have
that
been the
sounds really
real
interesting, and I did it.
that
So
might have
I,
been
I
the
have been that.
oh yeah. So that sounds like the real starting point of your lifestyle entrepreneur career, backpacking around the world before ever building the business around it. But
Oh my
I think we
goodness, yeah,
both
maybe back
had
then.
yeah. But anyway, so you ended up
It started back then. I have a lot of lives I've lived. Cats have 9 lives. Alicia's had a lot of lives. Yeah, I started I backpacked around the world when I graduated from UCLA. So probably the germination started then.
nice.
Um, and then I met my daughter's father when I was backpacking around the world, and, and then at 25 I was pregnant. So
That was like life one.
so yeah, just a little backup, little backup. I'm 38 years old now, so it's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that's happened since college. Definitely a lot of stuff that's happened. So then I ended up sending pictures to Patty Stanger and uh, just seeing it as, I mean, I'm single anyways, what the heck type of thing. And the first man that I dated was a motivational speaker. so and he said to me, he asked me about what I've done. I'm like, oh, backpacked around the world. I went to UCLA, and I have my own business. And he's like, wow, you've done so much. And I asked him how he created his success and his wealth, and um, and and he said, Alicia, I found it to be more of an experiment versus trying to find love. And then, okay, so this is where my book came about. So I ended up dating that guy for probably better part of a year. And then the next guy that I dated, I was remember I was journaling a lot and writing about lessons I was learning from these guys
Mm.
about how they created their business. And then when my other boyfriend in that, he said, Alicia, you should write a book. He's like, because I said, oh, I'm finding out, I'm getting so much like great knowledge from all of you guys. I'm like, and he's like, you should write a book. And that's really what kind of was. So that's why I say the whole reactionary thing. It's like I hear something, I'm inspired, and then I act on it. And that's kind of what started this whole thing. So I wrote my book, and that's the 13 lessons that I learned from successful guys, playing on the term gold digger, GOAL, living gold digger. I never ended up with any of these guys. Actually, I was so kind of hell-bent on being single during that whole time, because being a single mom, I just really identified myself with that.
So did you start looking at those dates as research for the book once you had the idea, or was there any like genuine interest in? Totally.
No genuine interest at all. It was pretty, and I was so upfront with them. I'm writing a book. It was all business. It was all business. No genuine. Yeah, I know. I'm a hard nut to crack. So, and so with that,
But that book ended up catapulting you into the spotlight in a different identity as an author now, instead of just doing the technical writing. And I know you had, for people that haven't seen your story, you then appeared on Dr. Phil, whereas before you were watching it, on TV, and then all of a sudden you're on the TV talking about your book, and then seeing it run up the charts.
Interesting. Yeah, and not Dr. Phil, Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey. Ricky Lake.
But going from watching TV to being on the TV looking out.
Yeah, that's kind of, wow, I've never put that together. That's so wild.
It's something, that in listening to you. Sorry, we have a delay, but we can work with it. In listening to you, it reminds me of something I've always thought with entrepreneurship and people that try a number of different business ideas, is this idea of having an identity rooted in the business that you're focused on, and that you really realize the moment when you've crossed a certain milestone or threshold, when you're being experienced by people as you're firmly in that new identity, whether it's as an author, a speaker on TV, a coach, when people can reflect back to you and say, oh, wow, I saw you on TV talking about your book, and it really inspired me to date more interesting men, then are there a couple moments when you realized, oh, wow, I've firmly crossed over to being somebody that's inspiring others and achieved a certain amount of success with your book, to the point where you then had the next idea? Or did you react to some other circumstances you decided to build your business on top of the book's success?
What ended up happening is I launched my book, as you said. I realized that I was still had a book, and I was still at that point doing my technical writing business, modeling, but I wasn't making like money that I thought would happen. Like I just thought, I had a book, but I didn't have a business. So what I did is I used my book as a way to network, and I connected with. I'm like, well, one thing I see is, authors, they do seminars and they're speaker, so maybe I'll do something like that. So I within weeks of my book coming out, I wrote a list of women I wanted to connect with. They were all New York Times bestselling authors, and I started calling them up and just saying, hey, I wrote a book, do you want to come speak at my seminar? So I created a seminar, which I didn't really create yet. I just started selling and enrolling people on, hey, come speak at this seminar. And the first one was Laurel Langmeyer, New York
Mm.
Times bestselling author, The Millionaire Maker. And she's like, yes, how can I speak? I'm like, goodness, it was like she didn't even know me. This was just the advent of Facebook. I was probably one of the first people on Facebook back in 2000 and late 2007. I think, yeah, sometime in 2000, I was on Facebook. And so people didn't really, like, I didn't feel like anyone really knew me. And I was like, wow, she said yes. And then I just went down the list and continued to call um, women, and they all said yes. And I had a summit called Wealthy Girl Summit, and I had all these speakers. I had 13 speakers
Oh,
on
wow.
wealth creation for women, and then really out of that, and that summit wasn't a financial win at all. But what happened is many of the speakers didn't have books, and that's when they started asking me to help them write their book, and that's where my business started turning started turning into a big book consulting business, and without me even knowing it. So again, when I was talking about being reactionary or your business evolving, my business, because I was so in the moment, it was very much based on like what people needed. So these women came up to me. I had like 3 or 4 speakers say, "Hey, can you help me with my book?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And then it evolved from there.
So
So it's an interesting way to look back.
yeah, I'd love to drill down on that point here. And as a takeaway for everybody that's listening and watching us have this discussion, I think there's a common misconception that starting your own business is a linear process. And what I've seen you do now a number of times, and what I hear you describing is sort of zigzagging a little bit and more so taking action and, like you said, starting to get on the phone and sell. I'm guessing that you were starting to sign up presenters before you did any of the public facing announcements for the event. Was that the case too?
Oh my goodness. I think I had the venue 3 days before the event. I mean, it was everything. It was all selling. And you were in my 60 Days to Six Figures program. It's all about pre-selling.
Yeah.
It's seeing if people even want what you have to offer and
So
the
as
value that you're bringing to the table.
as a
That's what.
take, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, as a takeaway, what advice would you give for somebody that's wanting to start either a new event or a business? Is it to get an idea just enough defined that you can go out and explain it to others and have these enrollment conversations, either to get other speakers for an event or to get a co-author or to get a publisher? I think you have an approach that I can't directly put my finger on, but I've seen you do it a number of times where you just spring into action, start having these conversations, start getting people excited, and then before you know it, a new brand is born or a new business or a new event. And one, I think it's incredible. It's inspirational to see. But I'm wondering if you can put your finger on, a couple sequential steps or how you approach that now after having done it a number of times, where somebody that's a little unsure of the first steps to take can hear this and listen to you and be like, now I know the next things I need to do in the next 2 weeks to get traction and start taking action on my idea.
Great. Yeah, I would love this to be a learning opportunity for everyone. So really, it comes down to pre-selling, and whatever you call that, enrolling, pre-selling. Sir Richard Branson pre-sold his flights into outer space, his intergalactic Virgin flights. He hasn't delivered. He hasn't delivered at all. He pre-sold. People believe in him. And it's a couple $100,000 or 300
Yeah.
grand. I don't know how much it is for his space odyssey. And he pre-sold it because people see him and they believe in him. So it's really enrolling people, selling people into your idea. So how I've done it, and I've done it several ways as you lined out. So even going back to my technical writing business, I created the idea and then I went out to go get clients, small businesses, to hire me on. I'm telling them that I do not go into the office, that I'm freelance. Pre-selling as well with Wealthy Girl Summit is having my book and basically getting on the phone and smile and dial. Is connecting with people, relationship. And then it being like, well, even because most people don't even pick up the phone. If it comes down to it, I mean, it's just simple. I mean, just even you picking up the phone, you're a minority out there. And so picking up the phone and say, hey, I have this idea. I have this thing, Wealthy Girl Summit. It's on this date. That's all I said. And she's like, yeah, I'll put it on my calendar. Then I'm like, oh, so I better get this together then. So it gave me, okay, so that's how it happened with Wealthy Girl Summit. And I would say with Bestseller in a Weekend, the same thing. I pre-sold it. I pre-sold it at a women's event when I figured out that after I was doing book coaching and consulting and the recession hit in 2009 and I was always running after my next client, I needed to create something that's more sustainable and scalable. And I had a speaking event coming up, and basically I had the name of the program and the price and the benefits of what they were going to get. So during my bestseller, I talked about it like it already had happened. During my Bestseller in a Weekend program, you will write your book, you'll learn how to make it a bestseller, come with the title, the subtitle, all of that. And I hadn't even done it yet. And so it's really enrolling people into your vision and into their vision.
So that's so good. No, this is great. So if the first step is getting a clear enough vision and the benefits that somebody could see it and get excited and opt in or register or buy or pre-sale. And then at what stage do you shift gears and be like, all right, now I've got to actually design the content of the program, or now I've got to design the front end marketing to get, people enrolled if you were trying to sign up presenters in the Wealthy Girl Summit example. At what point do you shift gears and say, okay, I've got enough validation, now let's actually build and start to roll this out?
Okay, so I'm really pulling the veil off here. I created the curriculum for Bestseller in a Weekend the night before.
The night before.
Yeah. And so lucky for everyone, and you could ask the first 20 or something women that were in it, they thought it was amazing.
So everybody that's listening to this, if you're thinking, oh, I need to start planning 3 months out and refining the curriculum if I'm going to teach an event, you've got Alicia here who's running a thriving 6-figure business, opening the kimono and saying she came up with the curriculum she's actually going to teach 24 hours before starting to teach it. I mean, if that's not inspiration to take action, I don't know what is.
And it's all about that. And I love opening the kimono. I've never heard of that. Opening the kimono. So it's interesting because obviously I had clients before. So I had clients who were bestsellers. I was working in a consulting business for a few years. So from 2008, 2009, and I first launched Bestseller in a Weekend end of 2010. So I had testimonials and I had a proven experience and I knew the system. So it's not like I went into surgery without having gone to medical school. So I did have a few years. So I want to just use that as a disclaimer. It wasn't like I just kind of, got people there and just figured it out. But I had the experience, I had the testimonials. But you know how I teach during 60 Days to Six Figures is your testimonials from your private clients can be used for your testimonials that you will have eventually for your virtual bootcamp.
Yeah.
For example, so it doesn't. So I use testimonials from previous clients for my Bestseller in a Weekend program, and it's very powerful, and people appreciate it when you can think on your feet. I think one thing about creating a business the way I've created it is I am a fast thinker, and I can come up with solutions really quickly, and it's just kind of hone that skill for me is to think on my feet.
We've got a question coming in here that I wanted to share and get your feedback on from Talia Rodriguez. I hope I said that right. It says, I love that you did it so quickly, but how did you have the materials and the PowerPoint to deliver the bestseller program? Did you stay up all night making it?
Oh yeah, I stayed up all night.
Got it. All night. But
and it's because I spent the whole couple of months making sure that I had people in it. So I did sales first, And then I said, wow, there's 20 people coming tomorrow. I better. And get this. Okay, so the weekend's going great. People are getting their books, because I visualized it first. I imagined what the weekend was going to look like. So it's not like it at all. I just kind of thought, I'm like, okay, that's how it's going to be. And then I went into action the night before in the hotel room. But the weekend was going great. People were getting their book manuscripts back, and we're going through it, and people were having major breakthroughs about their book and their topic, and people were really creative. Lots of stuff was happening. And on Sunday, as I was wrapping up the weekend, kind of telling people their to-dos and their next steps, I had a woman in the back row raise her hand and say, "So what's next?" And I say, "What do you mean, what's next? We're wrapping up." And she said, "Oh, how do we continue working with you?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I planned this weekend to kind of be comprehensive." And hold that thought. So I went to the back of the room. I gave them an assignment, and I took my laptop and I started creating my next program. And within the hour, it took me about less than an hour to do. I went down to the front desk of the Holiday Inn, had them print out the sheet for my program that was after Bestseller in a Weekend. And because because I saw a problem. This woman's like, what's next? We want to continue working with you. And I hadn't thought that through.
Mm.
And so I printed it out and I handed it out and I said, here's how we continue working together. It was about a $5,000 program. And I sold probably 10 people in the room, half the room, into that program.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so it shows, because she actually described what she wanted. She goes, how do we continue working with you? How do I, publish the book? What about book cover design, editing, continuing coaching, endorsements? And that's what I'm like, okay, she just described my program. And so that's, we don't have to do it all by ourselves.
That's, I think, a super important takeaway, because a lot of times when I run across people that want to start a business or they're thinking about doing it, they have trouble putting their finger on exactly what to do and exactly where to focus. So part of that is coming up with the ideas, but also like having the program and format. And what I'm hearing you say is that you're listening to what people actually want to learn and the way that they want to learn it and the way that they could best be helped. And then when you say reactionary, now what I understand is just meeting the needs of your market right where they're at. But it seems like you only see that. You only really have that opportunity when you're currently in the market, interacting with them and training or
in the moment.
In the moment.
In the moment. That's why engagement is so important, and listening. And so whereas I think a lot of people have analysis paralysis, where they create nothing because they're just thinking about all the things they can do. I really went into who's my target audience, what are their needs. They're telling me. You get emails all the time. I get, anytime I create a program, they'll say, "Oh, is this included?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's included." Get it in. I mean, how awesome is that? Is a LinkedIn? Someone asked me on a webinar, is a LinkedIn group included in Bestseller Weekend? And at that point, I didn't have LinkedIn. And I said, yes, it is. And I'm like, whoop, we got it up and running within minutes. It's 100% possibility. It's possible.
I mean, I love that approach. And honestly,
Any other questions?
Yeah, we have another question saying, well, how do you launch your books? I mean, how do you get people to know about it, drive traffic, raise awareness? I think they're asking both for your book and for people who you've helped write a book.
Absolutely. So part of the Bestseller in a Weekend program, we go over the whole launch of your book. But the thing is, what I teach during Bestseller in a Weekend and what we do from day one is we already start pre-selling and pre-marketing your book.
What's your approach to that, if you're willing to share? How do you take people through getting them into the mind of becoming an author even before they've put pen to paper, perhaps for the first time? Because it sounds like a reflection of your own approach to business, to book writing, and And entrepreneurship is sort of
Oh,
like
yeah.
act first and then redirect your efforts as you get more information. So how does somebody who wants to write a
Absolutely.
book step into that mindset of, all right, I'm already an author and now what do they do next?
It puts people into action. I just got off a podcast with a woman who attended my bestseller in a weekend. And she's like, Alicia, thank you for teaching me social media. And bestseller in a weekend is not, it's about writing a book, but we use so much social media because we start marketing your book so early. And it freaks people out because they get out of their comfort zone. Because the reason where they're attending bestseller in a weekend in the first place is because they haven't taken action in some way in writing their book. And so one of the ways that we pre-market your book is we start engaging your audience. Hey, what should the title of my book be? Should I be on the cover of my book or should I be on the back cover? Things like that. And you're putting this on during the weekend, and like your friends from high school and your spouse and your mom, they're like, oh, you're writing a book this weekend. What's it about? And then people start, what happens? They start talking, getting
See,
engaged. You're
I think
marketing your
that
book.
I really love that approach, and I think it's been very effective. I'd love to hear, a couple examples of how people's mindset shifted when they're first putting themselves out there as, "Hey, I'm writing a book. Let me get your input on this." Instead of, at least my view when I went into writing Lifestyle Entrepreneur was, I need a hole away somewhere for a month and like cut myself off from society and write. And it seems like the complete opposite approach, which
Complete
I
opposite.
admire on what you do, is first putting yourself out there, maybe even creating the whole book cover and packaging before writing the actual content. Maybe you could say a little bit more about your approach to book writing and creation in general, because I think it's counterintuitive to what a lot of people, myself including, have thought or experienced. But clearly, it's been very effective for you and your clients. So, I'd love to hear a little bit more on that process.
Well, think about it. You're going to write a book, and then you disappear in a hotel or a cave somewhere for 3 months. You're disconnecting yourself from your family, from society, and then people, and then you're gone for 3 months, and then you automatically show up and say, "Hey, buy my book," and they're like, "Wait, we didn't hear about it. We haven't heard from you in 3 months, 6 months, a year, and now you're telling us to buy your book." Now, this way, it's more collaborative. It's more community-based, where you get people involved from the very beginning, where you're like, hey, should I be on the cover? Hey, should I write? What question should I ask this interview partner? What's the topic matter expert that I can talk to? Who's an expert in the subject? When you start engaging your friends, family, clients, prospects, etc., on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and whatever you want to do, people start. They first of all they start hearing it, and then they feel like my opinion, my feedback is valuable. So they start feeling part of the process. And they've almost like, wow, when your book eventually comes out, a month, 2 month, 3 months down the line, they're like, ooh, I was part of that process from the very beginning.
Yeah. Do you
So
think
it's
it's
a very
equal?
collaborative and crowdsourcing way to create book content.
Yeah, I love that. I was wondering, do you think it's equal parts for the author stepping into the role of, wow, I can see my book coming together in front of my eyes, as it is getting people engaged and following the journey? So, like you said, they feel a part of the development and are therefore much more likely to buy and actually read and share and suggest the book if they've tracked its development. It almost seems like it works on
Absolutely.
both accounts.
Absolutely. So with the authors, I tell them it's about putting skin in the game. Because the one thing about aspiring authors, um, business owners, anyone where they're about to create a new program or product, it's follow through. And when you tell thousands of, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that you're writing a book and should I be on the front cover of my book, you put skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to follow through because now there's this whole community who it's like, where's your book?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a part of, it's very transparent. It's like, this is my process. Please join me along the way. I'm writing. It's also very humble in terms of, I need help with this, or, hey, can you connect me with someone on LinkedIn that I know we're mutual friends. I'd love to interview him for my book. Things of that. It's a very cool process. And what I find with the people during Bestseller Weekend is it really takes them out of their comfort zone and then they start becoming. Then I see them all over social media, and they're like unstoppable because they just feel so much power, so powerful.
Well,
They're like,
I'll tell you the thing. I'll give a little testimonial of something that I learned from you and was inspired. You know, when we really connected at the Freedom Retreat last summer, and for everybody listening, Alicia was sharing the progression of her signature program, Bestseller in a Weekend, and how it evolved to become virtual in a sense. And now she has people participate from all corners of the world, but that it's actually live, whereas you're teaching it live on a webinar similar to how we are now, but that it has a membership portal and a Facebook group. And so it reinforced the community. And when I took a page from your playbook after that seminar, I sprung into action and started creating my program, Business in a Weekend. And the thing I noticed that I think was so great was the private Facebook group, because it has this community feel and a continuation of the experience long after just the training and the tactical information is over. I'm always thrilled to wake up and see people that have gone through the program helping each other and, you know, giving ideas, showing the stage of development that their business is in. And it lets you step back a little and experience leverage and being a teacher, but also building a community of like-minded authors, in your case, or entrepreneurs. And I think that that's something that's super valuable, that technology has made so easy nowadays to just put a fence around an area and say, here's the community for bestseller in a weekend alumni, and then giving support and helping them along the journey from there. Of course, is probably a great opportunity to let them know what else you're up to and what programs you have and what's coming next. But have you also experienced the impact of the community that you've started to build of authors and people as they progress up the charts and expand their own businesses with a book as part of that foundation?
absolutely. It's community is where it's at, and people know that I'm a big proponent of creating community around, you know, products and services as a way to collaborate, co-create, crowdsource ideas. I've had clients who have won book awards, who've become bestsellers, who have you know, shared even connections with producers, TV producers, and media. Like, hey, I just appeared on this radio show, or I just appeared on this podcast or this TV show. Connect with someone. So it's very collaborative. I'm also a very huge proponent of an email list, having a community of people via email, and sharing with people wholeheartedly your journey. Not at all be about, you know, join my next program, join my next program, join my next program, but being just fully open and transparent about your particular journey. So that's how I connect with people, is through social media, of course, through Facebook groups, and through my email list. Mm. And I see amazing things happen. I'm big on networking, and I have helped my clients network and connect with people, and that has changed their life. I know, because I've connected them with someone. They've had either a new joint venture, they've had some sort of media opportunity, or some sort of business opportunity because of that connection. And one of my clients, it was really sweet when she said this, which was a long time ago, and she goes, Alicia, it doesn't matter how big you get, you never leave us behind. And that meant a lot to me, because I'm always like, how can I help someone else? You know, how can this connection help someone else? And I'm big on that. I'm big on you know, writing press releases. It's if someone in the community has something really cool going on, we'll write a press release on their behalf and distribute it via Vocus. That's something that we did a lot last year. So it's community is really important to me.
I like that. Oh, that's great. And I totally agree with what you're saying. I'll always get a random email or Facebook message from you saying, oh my gosh, you got to meet so-and-so, you have so much in common, and just boom, take it from here. And doing stuff like that, it takes 15, 20 seconds, but the impact could, in the best case, could alter the course of your career, or have a new partnership, or joint venture or opportunity open up just by connecting the dots proactively. So I think that's something that you do really well, and it's something that everybody listening to this can also do a lot more of, just proactively connecting people where there's a potential connection without expecting some percentage of the outcome or whatever happens as a result. Just putting people together, because that'll reflect back on you as the guy that knows the right person to talk to, or the girl, as the case may be. So, we have a question coming in. I'd love to get your feedback. Then I've got a question. And so Randy Bauer asks here, says, I'm in a little late, but I'm really curious on what's the best method for narrowing down a title within your niche if you're going to go forward and write a book. And he is a personal trainer. So how do you think about, like, for example, Goal Digger, right? It's a play on words. It catches your ear. How do you think about or advise people to start coming up with titles to represent their book idea as it's in its formative stages?
So when you're coming up with a book topic, you want to think about who your target audience is, what's their headache, and how you solve it. So he's a personal trainer. What solutions does he provide his clients? Then I want you to take that solution and go to, there's a couple of places. You want to go to Google Keyword Planner and search what people are searching for in terms of that solution. Because people Google, and even in the search field in Amazon, they search for solutions. They search for the solutions to their problems. So back pain relief. That's what people are searching for. So you want to see what people are searching for using the Google Keyword Planner, and then going back over to Amazon and checking what's over on Google, and then going over to Amazon, seeing what's on Amazon in terms of keywords. And then testing it amongst your audience. I have people, we do this during Bestseller Weekend, where they send out an email to their list, and it's like, survey. Hey, what should I name the next title of my book? And
it's so simple, right? Or setting up a survey monkey, or again, it sounds like the recurring theme is going out and actually asking people to tell you as the entrepreneur or author what they want, and then finding out how and the best way to give it to them.
And then when people get what they want, and when people ask for what they want, then when you deliver it, then they'll buy it. So, and then what you're doing is, hey, writing an email and saying, hey, what should be the next title of my book? And what you're doing is marketing. And Jesse, you just disappeared. Okay, there you are. And what they're doing is marketing. What you're doing is marketing, and then they feel part of the process, and it's and then you're not even doing all the work. Sometimes someone will come up with the title of your book, and you're like, oh, score! I just got the title of my book. That's great.
Nice. One more question here from the audience, and I have a final question for you. Then I'd love for you to share sort of the state of where Bestseller in a weekend is at, and how people who want to become authors and thought leaders and expand their audience can really take the first many steps and learn from you and your experience. So we have a question from High Moon Priestess, who says, I would like to know, can this model or approach be used for any kind of genre or business? My approach is in spirituality and astrology. So is your method applicable to people from personal training to spirituality to business in terms of the book writing process?
Weekend, absolutely. Yeah, Bestseller in a Weekend. Bestseller in a Weekend is for nonfiction, spirituality. I have a lot of people in the spiritual realm, but we also have Bestseller in a Weekend for fiction authors. So we have two Bestseller in a Weekends: Bestseller in a Weekend for nonfiction and Bestseller in a Weekend for fiction. So if you want to write like a young adult novel or romance novel, anything like that, you attend the Bestseller Weekend for fiction authors, and that's a whole different kind of format, and it's taught by a colleague of mine under Bestseller in a Weekend. And Bestseller in a Weekend for nonfiction is anywhere from dating, business, you name it, all of the above. Curing diseases, stay-at-home moms, spirituality. everything nonfiction, even memoirs, even people who are going to self-publish, all the way to people who are going to traditionally publish and who have an agent.
Yeah, I saw one or two questions float by. Do you also cover how to do the publishing and the release part and the different avenues for getting your book out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so I have,
Soup to nuts, from idea to author, and to launching the book and publishing the book. Everything from A to Z. A
well,
to Z
what,
is
I
bestseller
think
journey.
this would be a good time. Why don't you share sort of the format of Bestseller in a Weekend and let us know when, the next one or two programs is coming up. I think people on this call are certainly interested in writing a book, whether it's their first one or doing a book as a way to get leverage in their business. So love to hear how we can learn from the expert um, on all things soup to nuts, fiction or nonfiction books.
Absolutely. So yeah, Bestseller in a Weekend is a weekend program that we now have once a month. So once a month, we have Bestseller in a Weekend, and and I think, I don't know if you have a link for them to learn out more, but we have a webinar that you can learn more about it. And I'm doing it once a month now, so people, anytime when they're ready to write a book, they can come in and make it happen. And soup to nuts, it's really, people come with an idea. They don't even have to have an idea. I have a whole program where we come up with what book you're going to write about. Some people don't know what they want to write about. I help you with that. And then going all the way from idea to topic generation, title, subtitle generation, writing all of your back of the book content, writing your introduction and the entire content of your book, approximately 100 pages, and then how you're going to package and publish your book, from book cover design to publishing the book, whether you're self-publishing on Amazon, whether you're going to go with a vanity press or a traditional publisher, plus how to use your book as a way to maybe launch a movement, which is, a lot of my clients are really wanting to create a movement, like we have Lifestyle Entrepreneur here you're doing. So if you want to launch a movement around your topic, and then ways to, I call the 10 ways to monetize your book. And so it's really soup to nuts, from you come there with nothing. We do have some pre-work you can do to get, and then you create the book during the weekend. And if you're so bold, you can put your book up on day 3 on Kindle, and your book will be available by Monday.
Oh, good. It looks like that's answering some of the questions that are coming in. Can you get it on Amazon, iTunes, get your book used as an app, perhaps? And I think you cover all of those, don't you? All the different ways to distribute and promote and publish your book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's one awesome sort of takeaway or testimonial that somebody that went through Bestseller in a Weekend? What's one of the best outcomes? I know you've had people that have spoken at UN and have gotten on national news and television shows. Can you pull out one example of somebody that really just went through the weekend, is now just crushing it as an author?
Wow, there's so many. I have Michael and Bonnie, Michael Houlihan and Bonnie Harvey. They're New York Times bestselling authors, and they kind of they attended Bestseller Weekend before I really had it. It was like a little precursor when I was trying to figure it out. I've had Anna Maria Sanchez, who attended Bestseller Weekend, and she's now speaking for the United Nations twice. So I've had another woman who wrote a book on chronic Lyme disease, who's spoken in DC and at the Sacramento capital up here in California on chronic Lyme disease. I've had lots of people speak, appear on TV. That has been a big one. Within weeks of attending Bestseller Weekend, once they get their book up, I have someone who got some spokesperson work. And got some really great job opportunities, and got like Fox Business News and CNN. And
there's all sorts of success coming out of
all sorts of success. Absolutely.
One quick question somebody says, asked a couple times, is Andrew wants to know, how long did it take to get where you are? I think with respect to from writing your book to now running a monthly program to help other people become authors.
Yeah, so I would say like a business. If my launched my book in late 2007, and my business started in 2008, where I started online. Even though my business was mostly consulting, but I was using online marketing as a way to build my business. So I'd say about 2008. So we're probably like 6 years now, and there's no such thing as overnight success. It's people are working hard and creating what they want to do, but again, always create it within your lifestyle. Now my lifestyle is still, I want to. That's the reason I'm online, is to be able to be home with my daughter and my family, and travel is big. Not having any uh, impediments on my time,
Yeah.
and so creating, being available, of course, being available for my clients, but making sure my schedule is pretty much 10 to 3, finishing the day around 3, so I can look at my daughter from school.
I love how you fit your business into that container of here's when I'm willing to work and the rest of the time I'm going to
So
enjoy my life, my
that's what
lifestyle.
being a lifestyle entrepreneur is about.
It is indeed. I think chiefly is being in control of your time and having the ability to say, oh no, this is personal time, this is lifestyle time, and then that's work time over there. Being able to define those boundaries, I think, is
Oh
a
yeah.
huge part of the freedom that comes from owning your own business. So
Yes, and then being a lifestyle entrepreneur is also about being a lifestyle entrepreneur is loving what you do, so it doesn't feel like work.
yeah, yeah, that's like the foundational part is just I get a sense for your passion and I know how passionate you are about this, but it comes through in every venue and every format. I mean, even we were scrambling 5 minutes before the technology didn't work for this presentation, but once we're live, it's like we're both so enthusiastic and excited about what we're doing that all of that just becomes like an afterthought. So I admire you for your passion and your drive and being a voice for authors and entrepreneurs out there. And I want to acknowledge you for that because you've inspired me quite a
Oh,
lot. And
oh, that's
and
sweet.
even Alicia Dunams gave a great quote that you can find just on the inside cover of my book, Lifestyle Entrepreneur. So you're everywhere. So if people wanted
Good.
to attend Bestseller in a weekend, when's the next program and sort of what's the format and what does it cost and how do people get signed up for that?
Ooh, okay. Um, the best thing to do is to go to bestsellerweekend.com/webinar. I think
Hmm.
was that
Yeah, I'll put that in the
the
chat
link?
box here.
Okay, that's a 60-minute webinar. If you're ready, that's where there's a discount there. So that's why I give you that. Because on my website it's a certain price, and if you go to that, if you go to bestsellerweekend.com/webinar, you can watch a webinar and then get a special discount. And they're monthly, and the next one is the last weekend of March, and then they're monthly going on. I think it's the third weekend of every month, but this one in March is the last weekend. And it's a Friday, so
What
it's a Friday. There's a webinar and homework on Friday, and then pretty much all day Saturday and all day Sunday you're working. So because we don't talk about writing a book, we're doing it during the weekend. So you can give yourself those, in your office, your home office, but you're fully engaged and connected in community during that weekend.
and people are asking, are these webinars live? Well, I believe the webinar might be pre-recorded on that link, but you teach the program live via webinar, right?
Yeah, so what I just gave them, bestsellerweekend.com/webinar is pre-recorded, just so people know. And during the weekend, it's live, and there's a live Q&A, and we're like engaging. My team and I are engaging with everyone during the weekends.
Right. So everybody, I put in the chat box here a link to the bestsellerinaweekend.com/webinar where you can check out a full informational webinar on the program and access that special discount. What is that special discount, by the way, Alicia?
Ooh, it's I think it goes from $9.97 to $4.97, so they can get it for $4.97, four hundred
Wow,
ninety-seven
so
dollars.
50% off for everybody that made it here, navigating through
Yes.
the technical maze to arrive on this webinar for the kickoff of Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit, rewarded with 50% off of Bestseller in a weekend. And
Yeah, 497 to like totally blast your life to the next level in terms of influence and impact that you can create. I think it's huge. Just by having a book, you're able to pick up the phone and connect with people, get on TV, get speaking opportunities. I mean, it's a huge game changer in terms of your business. And so being able to, I always say, invest in yourself, invest in your business. And it's such I really want people to fully be tapped in that weekend. And I've been told that not only is it the best online training, but it's the best social media training, and it's not even a social media training, which is so funny. People are like, "Wow, I'm learning so much about Facebook." I'm like, it's that's just part of it. So
I think that might be because you put yourself out there, or you make people put themselves out there online, so that they're like, "Wow, I've
oh yeah,
never experienced social media in this way." And so maybe that's part of the
oh
like,
yeah.
the extra effect. One question, Talia asked, how many people are on the program, and do you get people to interact with one another so you can meet other like-minded authors and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's you'll be making friends from people all over the world. And so it varies every month. So in terms of numbers, it varies every month. I wouldn't be 150 people, um, and and you will be connecting with other people, and making friends, and possibly business partners, joint ventures. I mean, we we don't want to be afraid of other people, because how do we get what we want in life? How do we create amazing things? It's by connecting with other people, and it's uh, yeah, it's by being connected.
I love that. And while we're on this call, and after you offer that amazing 50% off discount to 497, for everybody that's here, I want to throw in my own bonus as well. And I'm happy to give away 3 pre-release copies of Lifestyle Entrepreneur for everybody that enrolls, and do a private one-on-one phone consultation on how to
Wow.
take your business, how to take the book and leverage that into different business development opportunities, like you've seen Alicia done, and for myself, having Lifestyle Entrepreneur be the stepping stone into an audio training program I have on starting a business, and ultimately Business in a Weekend, sort of the sister program for starting your own online business in the same weekend format. So I will say, everybody that signs up for Alicia's program today, I'll throw in 3 copies, so you can have 1 for yourself and 2 for friends, of Lifestyle Entrepreneur, do a private consultation with you, and give you a ticket to my next Business in a Weekend seminar, which will be in mid-April. And that is also a $497 value. So want to give everybody that has taken the time out of your day to attend the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit talks, especially Alicia's keynote, every incentive to invest in yourself and your business growth, into your development into an author and a best-selling author with Alicia's guidance, and to help where I can to help you get a business set up on top of that, and really amplify your message and integrate it into your business and lifestyle. So
Awesome.
that's only for people that are on the webinar now that are interested in doing that. It says, where can we see the recording of the webinar? We got the link here for you guys, Bestseller in a Weekend /webinar. I'll drop it in the chat box again. Laura says, yay, awesome. Michelle says, how do we sign up and get your bonuses? Where can they sign up if anybody wants to sign up now, or should we send them to the webinar link? Laura's
Let's
asking.
send them to a webinar. We'll have to let's send them to the webinar, because that's where they can get the discount.
Yeah.
And then please send an email, but this is important, to wecare@bestsellerinaweekend.com. wecare@bestsellerinaweekend.com, and put that you signed up, and that you want Jesse's bonuses so we can get that all sorted. And Jesse gets all that information, and we're all good to go to move forward.
Gotcha. I'll put that in right now. And so there's in the email link.
Minutes, you'll get the button to buy. So
as you're watching the webinar, eventually, yeah, exactly. Part of the way through, you'll see the opportunity to buy. Once you register in Bestseller in a Weekend, just send an email to wecare@bestsellerinAweekend.com. Just mention that you were on this call, and Alicia and her team will make sure that I get the info, and I'll get you the books, and we can schedule a one-on-one coaching session and get you your free ticket to Business in a Weekend. So you can do the 1-2 punch. Get your book done, build the business on top of it. That's
wow. That's like amazing.
I just felt inspired listening to you on taking action, so I decided to just come up with that one off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's good. That's wow.
So oh yes, go ahead.
I'm totally stoked to be working with everyone, and what a great deal to be working with you as well. So yeah, I would say people jump on that fast.
For sure. So as we start to wind down here, I've got a question that I'm going to ask everybody on this summit here, and it goes to the heart of the lifestyle entrepreneur sort of motto, and it's how has your business now supported a lifestyle of travel and freedom and opportunity, and how are you experiencing that now, having put in the work and structured your business with that intention? And now sort of on the other side, experiencing the success and the opportunity you have. What's your lifestyle like now with this business and the different brands you've put together supporting you in that way?
So it's a wonderful thing when your business is automated, and that automation really feeds a lifestyle business. My life is, I live in a great place. I live not too far from you in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's probably 80 degrees today, or will be. I go to work with my Birkenstocks. No, I actually just got an office, so because my dog barks at home, so I got an office. Travel, I would say I'm going to Mexico for 2 weeks in June. I'm always going back and forth to Los Angeles. I spend most summers traveling for about 2 months in Europe. Last year I went to Santorini and Morocco and London, and I feel like sometimes I feel like, wow, I don't hardly work. It's good. So I would just say lots of travel, lots of time with family. I'm taking my daughter. We're going to like a 3-day cleanse to Louvre in June, and probably Burning Man.
You take your daughter to Burning Man?
No, I'm not going to.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not going to take her by myself. And that's a good week for Grandma and Grandpa. Hiking and running and yoga. It's awesome.
I love it. And I know that you're in the middle of doing a health and fitness push as well. I've seen some of your picture updates. I've been doing the same, and maybe as a final topic, a little bit non sequitur, but how do you see your health and fitness and your approach to exercise impact how you show up in the business and the overall level of energy and presence you have day to day? So that's something I've been experiencing a lot doing these daily weight training and exercise. I have so much more to bring to the business. It actually gives me more energy as opposed to being a zero-sum game where I only have so much and I either spend it working out or working.
So yeah, so much clarity. And I was doing CrossFit for a bit, but then like I really hurt my shoulder, so I stopped CrossFit. And now I'm Bikram yoga, and I'm really I love carbs so much, but when I don't eat them, I feel like I've added 4 or 5 hours to my day. When I eat carbs by 7:30, when I could stay up to like midnight and I'm on fire. So I love carbs. I do. They're so good. But high protein vegetables and green juices.
I saw you sipping on that
Yes.
while we were talking.
This is my St. Patrick's Day green.
Oh yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Yes.
So,
Awesome.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alicia, for taking the time out of your day and being flexible with these, inevitable last minute technical glitches. But I really appreciate you coming on and being the keynote. I wouldn't rather have anybody else kick off the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit. So just thank you for what you do, for the work you do, the inspiration you provide, and for being a voice for for lifestyle entrepreneurs, and for and being a woman entrepreneur as well. Not that I see any difference, but I remember when you saw the flyer for the program, you said, "Yay, I'm not the only woman." I
Yeah.
just think it's so possible for people from any walk of life to just take charge and build a business based on your interests and passions. And that's a lot of what being a lifestyle entrepreneur is all about. And Alicia's just a perfect example of what's possible by showing up every day and playing to win. You don't need a 10-year plan. You just need some accountability and the right strategies. And I can't recommend anybody better to teach about creating a book and getting it out there and having a business uh, growth as a result of having your book out there. So just to reiterate, if anybody just jumped on or whatnot, if you check out the bestsellerinaweekend.com/webinar, you can learn more about Alicia's Bestseller in a Weekend program and get a 50% discount to sign up there, as well as I'll throw in 3 copies of Lifestyle Entrepreneur, a private phone consultation on how to turn your book into a business amplifier, which I've done partly with Alicia's guidance with my book, Lifestyle Entrepreneur, and built an entire coaching practice around it. And I'll also give you a free ticket to my upcoming Business in a Weekend seminar in mid-April. And so
Wow.
that's what we got for St. Patty's Day and for the kickoff of Lifestyle Entrepreneur Summit. So
Awesome. So bestseller in a weekend and business in a weekend and the one-on-one with Jesse for $497. And we want to make sure everyone sends an email to WeCare@Bestseller in a Weekend so we can get that all registered correctly so everyone gets their bonuses.
absolutely. Well, any final words of wisdom, Alicia? Otherwise, we can go outside and enjoy this beautiful California pre-summer day.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Let's see, I I would just say I really encourage everyone, and I really invite everyone, and I really challenge everyone to play full on out and big in their life. Um, when you see, I was watching Marie TV, Marie Forleo, and she was talking about what if Oprah played small? What if she like shrunk herself because she felt like she couldn't do it, or she didn't want to, do whatever, like be, make more money than Stedman or whatever. And I'm thinking, wow, how the world would have lost out if Oprah played small.
Mm.
And think about us in the same way. Um, you know, how we can easily play small because it feels comfortable, because it feels safe, and all of those things. And really, when you play as big as you possibly can, you just give other people the ability to shine, and it's such a beautiful gift. And so I'm going to just look at that. I appreciate seeing that on that video about Oprah, because by me, you, Jesse, anyone who's listening, by us playing small or shrinking or just staying comfortable, um, we're not doing the world a favor. And we really get to be comfortable in discomfort and go out there and be as possibly as big as we can be, 100% possibility, all in, and playing all out. So that's what I encourage everyone to do.
That's a great way to wrap it up. And thanks so much again. Thanks everybody for joining and being flexible, jumping on here. We just about hit the cap, 100 people. So we'll make sure that there's a replay available here. And for now, let's go out and enjoy the day. And I'll be following up with everybody else that's sent questions here that we didn't have time to get to. Thanks so much, Alicia, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jesse. All the best.
Take
Good
care.
luck on the rest of your summit.
Thank you. Bye-bye.